A curious detail that makes a command of the attention with respect to world empires or kingdoms in the Bible is the theme that beasts of various forms are used to symbolize the power that wields control over world affairs at specific epochs in our civilization's timeline. Most notably, the books of Daniel and St. John's Revelation are riddled with these types of images. In the imagination of many, these images are as real as the figure that presents itself in the reflection of a mirror, thus causing many to fear the book of Revelation. To others, the symbolic nature of these beasts makes itself felt, opening their eyes to the fact that of all the creatures the prophet Daniel and St. John describe, none have actually been documented to have roamed the earth in a literal sense. However, the kingdoms they represent do find expression in volumes and volumes of history books, as well as time capsules such as artifacts, buildings, and structures of worship, tablets containing bas-reliefs, and artistic glyphs of the ancient world. In all the available evidence, we do indeed see a beast, and the beast that stands back of all the dysfunction in the world is nothing like the beasts of the prophets, at least in form. Rather, it matches the image one would see in the mirror's reflection. The book of Revelation points to this resemblance in the instance where the Apostle John makes reference to the famed mark of the beast in chapter 13. Putting it plainly, he calls it a man's number. But why make such a relation? Well, we know the distinction between beast and man and the relationship between the two. That is, man is cultured and highly analytical, in most cases putting beasts under control as deemed necessary. So, could man be the beast in disguise? To help us come to a new understanding of the man's number, let's go back in our Bibles to another of the three places the number 666 is mentioned, bearing in mind that nothing in the Holy Scriptures can be said to be written to take up space without real meaning. In the 2nd Chronicles chapter 9, verse 13, the number appears as a measure of the quantity of gold received as gift by King Solomon. So, of the two times we see 666, it is associated with gold talents and with a mark or name which acts as a permit for carrying on trade or commerce. It's clear that of the two times, it is used to represent one thing, which is the lifeblood of any civilization, currency. The mark, or image, if you will, created by man. Another key figure of the Revelation is the harlot, also called Babylon the Great, who is made rich through the merchants who serve to gather the world's treasure to the harlot, using the mark of the beast, which the beast imposes on all people, the small, the great, the rich, the poor, the slaves, and the free. Many people expect that a literal mark will be put on people's bodies to see the fulfillment of Revelation 13. But to those with the gift to discern the symbolism, it is clear that the mark of the beast has long made its entry into society, because nothing holds sway over and compels humans quite like money does. Some might argue, but there's nothing wrong with money. It all depends how it is used. While it is an apparently fair point to make, it is also a dangerous position to hold, especially when not in possession of all the facts. After all, Scripture does state that God's people perish for a lack of knowledge. To make an example, of the people who hold that money is not the mark of the beast, none of them would consider feeding the poor with food they receive from a supplier who is known to deliberately sell poisoned food, even if there was the off chance that not all the food is poisoned. In fact, the supplier would be counting on people to think in that fashion, because that would guarantee that there will still be an influx of people seeking to consume the food. The logical resort then would be to seek out another supplier altogether, one with a better reputation. That being said, it is known that this system and its banking institutions are wicked. Yet many people are willing to take chances on the bet that the system is not all bad. It's like playing with a revolver loaded with one bullet, thinking there won't ever come a time where you pull the trigger and blow your brains out. A real-world example of this blind faith can be seen in the recent fires which burnt many households in California suburbs down. We are talking about homes owned by taxpayers and voters who at a most desperate moment couldn't even rely on the local government for a sufficient supply of water in their hydrants to help mitigate the damage caused by flames, which, mind you, are said to have originated from an arsonist. This is yet another example of the faithful masses being put through a collective setback, only for the financiers to make a killing. The military-industrial complex that's in full swing in the Middle East is another terrible ploy to wreak havoc on unsuspecting taxpayers. While everyday people are content living everyday honest lives in the spirit of what they believe is making a contribution to the world, there is a dark agenda manipulating us that most are unaware of. And so, it is imperative that the veil of deception be lifted. A solution is that the financial system as it now stands must be stripped of its power, as it is based on oppressing the none the wiser and feeding the fat cats directing this horrific world theater. A different agenda must be established to replace it, where financial institutions are not motivated by greedy hoarders, but will be curated by capable men and women who understand that individual enrichment is a function of enriching the lives of the people and environment around us. May we break the bondage imposed on us by a cunning sorcerer, and may we come to realize and take hold of the identity that our Creator prepared for us, by so doing, becoming the sons and daughters of the Most High that this unscrupulous beast undoubtedly fears. The system uses fear to exploit. But once we transcend that fear, it will become apparent that we are the priesthood of a righteous king, and we will begin to enjoy the abundance we have received by building a world in the spirit of love and truth.